Hello, welcome to my session on training two-point perspective house shape. Whenever you're doing two-point perspective, remember, start out with your horizon line and add 2 vanishing points on each end. Make sure your horizon line is perpendicular to the size of your drawing area as indicated on the worksheet in the bottom right. Next, we're going to do a dot, a line, and a dot. A bit of advice, whenever you're doing a horizon line, I put it fairly high on the drawing area as indicated here. That way we'll have plenty of room to operate on our house shape below. The length of this dot, line, dot is about 1.5 inches. Draw lightly with your wooden pencil connecting both dots back to both vanishing points. This will create a V shape. This will be the beginning of your house structure. This 3-sided shape right here, I'm going to do another dot, line, dot. Go to the top orthogonal line, make a dot. Make my ruler perpendicular to the bottom of the drawing area. Draw down until it intersects to make a dot, a line, a dot. I'm going to repeat the same process on the left 3-sided shape. Next up, I'm going to connect these 2 top dots on the orthogonal lines back to each vanishing point. Remember, draw lightly. You're going to erase most of these lines. Next, we're going to work on finding the midpoint for the peak of our house shape. We will do that by going to this quadrant right here and drawing an X that connects all 4 corners. Now I know where the middle of that 4-sided shape is. I'm going to make my ruler perpendicular to the bottom of my drawing area, and I'm going to draw upward, making a dot, line, dot that passes through 2 lines. When I get past this top orthogonal line right here, I'm going to stop and make another dot. This allows me to find a good point for the peak of this house shape. Next, I'm going to line the ruler up to the top left corner of this quadrant, my new point, and connect those 2 areas. Here, and I'll do the same thing on the top right corner of the structure, here. I think at this point it's wise to go ahead and clean up some of your informational lines because it can get a little confusing to look at if you have too many lines in your paper. This next point that we're going to come up with, we're going to connect the peak of this house back to the left vanishing point. You should have a shape that looks kind of like this. Here is where many learners get confused. We're trying to create a parallel line here and here. The easiest way to do that is a little loose, but it goes something like this. I'm going to line my ruler up to the edge of that house, like so, and I'm going to slide my ruler, maintaining the same angle until I hit this corner right here. Slide, maintain the angle, and stop. This will give me a parallel line here and here. I'll demonstrate again. Line your ruler up, slide left, maintaining the same angle until it intersects with the corner, and connect those lines. I'm going to go ahead and clean up and rid myself of the information on the roof that I no longer need. Now I have the general shape of the house. There are a lot of orthogonal lines surrounding the house form that I don't need anymore, so just to make sure my viewers aren't confused, I'm going to take that information off as best I can. Next up, we need to add a door and 2 windows to our house shape. Here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to first start out by adding the window on the left wall. But we'll do a very short dot, line, dot. Start with a dot, make the ruler perpendicular, draw about 1/2 inch, make another dot. As you can see here, I have a dot, a line, a dot. I'm going to connect both dots back to the left vanishing point. You may have noticed I'm not going to go all the way to the vanishing point with my lines because I don't need to. We know the window is not going to extend outside the parameters of this wall. Next, I'm going to pick a point right here, make another dot, line, dot. That's a pretty good time to add this advice. If you're ever not sure what to do next, it's probably going to be a dot, a line, and a dot. Next, I'm going to add a door and then a window overhead. You know what to do next? Guess what? It's a dot, a line, and a dot. I made a point on this quadrant right here. I'm going to line my ruler up perpendicular to the bottom of the drawing area and draw down until it intersects with the orthogonal line. I'm going to lightly connect this corner back to the right vanishing point. I'm not going to extend all the way because I don't need to. Make a dot here. And then from that new dot, I'm going to draw down a perpendicular line to close off the door. Next up, I'm going to do a dot, line, dot right above the door. I'll just do it the same width as the door itself to indicate where the last window is going to go. I now have two dots right here and right here that I'm going to connect back to the right vanishing point. I know it's not going to be much wider, if any wider at all, than the door shape I previously came up with. So there we go. Only have one line left to go. Dot, line, dot. This is a pretty good and quick example of how to create a two-point perspective house shape using linear perspective. I used parallel lines for the angles on the roof, here and here. These lines here, 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 and here are also parallel. Every other line utilized on this is an orthogonal line.